Well, if it isn't the internet, welcome back to my channel, and it's good to be back in a filming routine again. Today I'm reviewing the Cambridge Diadem, which I'll talk about that in a second, but first, if you enjoy the music playing underneath this video or any of my videos, it's all available. Oh my words, it's all available for download at forloveoftheword.bandcamp.com. Then if you enjoy the work of the ministry of this channel, you can support my family and I over on my Patreon page, which will be spinning back up again here in the next few weeks. Or you can do it on the SA Tabernacle House of Prayer giving website. Those links will be in the description. And then lastly, my book, Hearing Love, which is a commentary on the greatest commandment to hear the Lord, to love the Lord with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. It's available in hardback, paperback, and ebook on Amazon, and that link will be in the description as well. All right, so Cambridge Diadem comes in a box. Most Bibles come in a box. Nice Bibles come in boxes. I went with the brown, big surprise, brown, and I don't know if these are red or orange ribbons or kind of like in between orange and red. I'm not changing them. I don't mind the thinness of them. They go with the non-yap presentation that Cambridge has, so it does overlap the text block a little bit, but nothing where I would say this is a yap. It's just a nice protective, little bit oversized cover and stitched on the perimeter. And now this brown is calfskin. You might see a little bit more grain than what I saw when this first arrived. And so the story of this, when I first got it, I gotta tell you, I was disappointed. And it wasn't because it was a bad Bible. It wasn't that it wasn't put together well. I was just a little bit disappointed that it wasn't exactly my perfect size Bible. What I mean is, here's this Legacy Standard double column that I have just been absolutely loving since it came out this last December. And so this goes with me every stinking where. I did change the ribbons to the old Allen scheme, the green, purple, and brown. The ribbons on here weren't bad, but it's just, there's something about that old Allen scheme with a simple brown goatskin cover that just is chef's kiss. And then when you put it on a Legacy Standard from Steadfast that has the raised hubs and the oversized yap and gilt line, then it makes my day. So anyway, I did change the ribbons for those of you who are looking out for this, but that's not a review on this Bible. But I will say I've been carrying this every day since I've had it. It comes with me everywhere. This is my lovey. So this one, my 75 New American Standard from Moody Press that Adrian rebound for me, that comes with me a lot. That's another one of my loveys. So that one, this one is one of my favorite Bibles. So when I say I was disappointed in this one, I was thinking this would be like the size of this. Now when you look at this, it looks like a book, right? The width and the height, it's all proportionate. So when the Diadem came in, and I saw this on the internet, and honestly I was a little bit reluctant to purchase this. The only reason I got it, to be frank, was because I figured it would be a good YouTube video and you guys would want to see this and know my thoughts on it. So I was disappointed. The height, is good, but look, it's a little bit wider than just this perfect size right here. And so because of that, for a couple days, I'm just like, all right, well, I'll film it, but I'm kind of sad that it's so wide. But I did give it a chance. What I did was, this became kind of my nightstand Bible. So before I go to bed, just reading through something to just kind of have in my mind as I'm falling asleep. I love to meditate on scripture as I'm falling asleep. If you want to heal your dream life, if you're having trouble sleeping through the night, if you're having trouble with like nightmares or bad dreams, have a nightstand Bible where you can turn to like Revelation 4 or 5 or Isaiah 6 or a Psalm and just begin to meditate on the beauty of God while you're falling asleep. Meditate on the scripture while you're falling asleep. It will heal your dream life and open it up in just incredible, unreal ways. Just a little tip. But anyway, so I started using this. Now, when I open it up and it's wide, I kind of like the spread, even though it wasn't like this. And I'll show you these two side by side. So it's a little bit wider, but I came to really appreciate it, especially for a Bible this size. The weight of the pages being wider helps it lay flat better. So I began to notice that as I'm just like laying face down. This is just open at the head of my bed and I'm reading it. Then what happened is I have so much history in a Cambridge wide margin from before I started this YouTube channel. So if it doesn't seem like I like the Cambridge wide margin or I don't talk about it much, it's because I started the YouTube channel after I switched to the Allen Reader for my main preaching and study Bible. But before that, I had several years in a Cambridge wide margin, marking it up, writing in all the margins, and it's made an appearance in a couple videos. It'll be back today for this one. But I just felt at home in a sense where it's like I've been here before as far as the typeface. The double column paragraph format, yes, I prefer verse by verse at this point, but as far as just a reading Bible that I'm not going to be teaching from, paragraph format is a great format. It looks beautiful on the page. And then the double column center reference with a robust footnotes package. I don't think you get any better than a typeface like this. So while I appreciate the Legacy Standard, I love so many things about it, and I really, when I'm talking about a Bible this size, so this is the Legacy Standard, when I'm talking about a Bible this size, I also mean this typeface, the double column center reference. Do paragraph or do verse by verse. I don't really care. If I'm going to teach from it, I want verse by verse, but in a Bible this size, a paragraph format is just fine. And so, anyway, the more I began to use this Cambridge, the more I just loved it and loved it and loved it. This is actually really practical. I love so many things about this, and the size is so close that it's like, why be nitpicky? And I've actually come to love the widespread, even though like I still prefer this. So if I had the option of this typeface and this size, I would go to this size every time. But I just had this appreciation for it, and then also realizing like, okay, so the pit minions, this is like an enlarged pit minion or a shrunk down wide margin without the margins. Talk about that in a little bit. And so with the Cambridge Bibles, I'm used to having a wider text block than in the other Bibles. And so I've just really come to just actually appreciate this, and this also be my levy. So now the two Bibles that actually go with me everywhere, now there's two of them. So this Legacy Standard and this Cambridge, they just fit in my bag so nice. They don't get messed up. And so in this video, like my ribbons don't look great because they're in different places because I'm actually using it. So the ribbons aren't like perfectly coiffed for the video. There's a little bit of grain that I think you're gonna see because when I first got this, the calfskin was a lot more smooth and just kind of stiffer feeling. It's loosened up and you kind of have this grain appearing in the ripples. And I guess you can see the difference between that in the main cover where it will flop because it is edge line versus when the cover gets closer to the spine, you'll see it kind of smooth there. The cover might be a little bit bent over the pages, but hey, I like yaps anyway, so big deal. I don't know if I don't think these are raised spines, but the tooling is very pronounced. And then again, you've got perimeter stitching, and then these three ribbons. I love that color ribbon with this color brown. Now, just to get nitpicky, the only thing that I'll say is when you're doing an edgeline Bible. Now I know Cambridge has been doing edgeline Bibles for a very long time, but then you have Allen gaining popularity, who's also been around for a while, and then you have Schuyler, who's come into the game, and now you have Steadfast Bibles, who's doing the Legacy Standard. I think in 2023, if you're doing an edgeline Bible that is supposed to be on the nicer end of your Bible line, if you don't have an interior gilt line on the inside cover, then like, what are you thinking? Because everyone else has them, and so Cambridge still for some reason just doesn't put them in there. So all of my nicer Cambridge Bibles, they're nice Bibles, so the feel, the build quality, everything looks nice. You have the art gilding on the pages, and I get like it's probably a cost thing, but everyone else is doing it. Why not just go ahead and put a gilt line on the interior cover? Because it frames the Bible so well. And I don't know if that has to do with the material. So the outside is calfskin. The inside is that typical synthetic Cambridge liner that we're used to seeing. Again, it's bound in Youngblood, so this thing is solid. I've never had an issue with the Youngblood Bible. They're always just amazing. And there's other good printers out there, but Youngblood seems to be doing really well. But again, this is a double column center reference, which I love. I've been just using a yellow highlighter and a blue pen to underline. And so the ghosting is there. That's why I've only used a yellow highlighter and then the blue pen and an orange to like circle keywords. So here's Colossians. This is a prayer that we pray almost on a daily basis here in the prayer room. So I have it highlighted so I can find it and go to kind of key phrases that I want to pray as I'm praying for my prayer topic. And so looks great on the page. The ghosting, you have some ghosting, but you don't have any bleed through. And again, I'm using a Sharpie yellow and Pigma Micron 005s for the blue and the orange. And then over time, the yellow does fade, so the ghosting will also fade. One of the reasons I use the Sharpie yellow, which you can look in like how I highlight my Bible volume 2 or the second video. At the end of that, I talk about the pens I use and why, but one of the things I talk about is, yeah, I use Sharpie yellow because I know it's bold and in your face, but in like 5, 6, 7 years, that yellow is gonna fade. And so the Sharpies I found actually stay on the page that you're highlighting, and even though there will be some ghosting you might not be happy with temporarily, in 5 years from now it'll look fine and you'll still be able to see the yellow on the page while the ghosting is kind of going away. So highlighters, they fade over time, so that's the reason for my choice in highlighters. So besides the interior gilt line, when we're talking about the gold stamping on the spine and the Holy Bible on the cover, I love it, but I felt like they reached such a sweet spot in the color when they did this RSV from l.e.g.o, where it was like a rose gold stamping with the orange ribbons and the brown cover. And that was just mind-blowing when I saw it and everything for the first time. And so I guess for the first Bible I'll show you for comparison is my NRSV from Cambridge, printed, bound by l.e.g.o with the raised spine hubs. But as far as the typeface goes, I prefer the typeface of this diadem over the RSV, even though I know they're both double column, center reference, and paragraph format. I feel like, you know, the RSV looks nice and everything, but I like the dark inner column of the diadem. That's just, maybe it's because it's just more of a traditional Cambridge presentation, and it helps everything just not like blur together, but everything has its distinct column. The Bibles that don't have columns in the center, I'm like, okay, but whatever. But anyway, I prefer the typeface of the diadem to this RSV that they did. I still love the RSV. But the point here is the colors, the rose gold stamping on the RSV. I'm like, with this ribbon and brown, like, why didn't they do that? That seems like a no-brainer after they did this RSV a couple years ago. And I mean, this is gorgeous. Great color presentation. But again, I'm just nitpicking at this point. This still comes with me everywhere, every day. And so it's just like that constant journey of, maybe I can start my own Bible publishing company and just make the perfect Bible, do a one and done, and then retire and be like, this is it. This is the Dave Brown perfect Bible. Because there's a lot of great ones, and there's a lot of them that come super close. And if this one was going to be the perfect Bible, I put a full yap on it. Same color cover, rose gold stamping, same color ribbons, wider ribbons, interior gilt line, same typeface, but like narrower Bible, and then with the full yep. Did I say yep yet? But yep. With the raised hubs, and then this would just be the absolute perfect. So we've been getting closer through the years, and I'm just trying to curate from all the best things of all these Bibles, and maybe that's why those of us that are searching for the one end up with so many. And we have all the ones, and we have this one and that one and this other one, and down the list, and 100 Bibles later, we're still like, if I could take this and this and this and like smush it all into one Bible, it would be epic. Maybe one day one of these publishers will watch one of my humble videos and be like, we're gonna do that. Okay, so you look at Fender Guitar Company, Martin, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith. You have these players that play professionally on guitars, and then they'll come out with a signature series guitar where it's like, this guy partnered with us to help us make his dream guitar. We should do that in the Bible community. We should have like signature Bibles where it's like, this guy helped us design exactly what he wanted in a Bible, and this is it. And I know we kind of did that with the John MacArthur Preacher's Bible. And as much as I love the Preacher's Bible, if you've seen my Preacher's Bible reviews, you know I love the Preacher's Bible, so I'm not dogging it. But if John MacArthur designed his dream Bible, why doesn't he use it in the pulpit? Now, I get him having history in a Bible and decades in a Bible where you've taken notes, but at least 20-30% of the time, why don't we see the new one in the pulpit and developing a new history there with a new set of notes, or kind of reframing notes that you had from the past? Because in our age, we all grow, we all learn new things. You should always constantly be reframing how you understand and present things, especially as a pastor and a speaker. And so that's kind of my question, is like, I know we got close with the John MacArthur Preacher's Bible, but why don't we see it really in his pulpit other than when he's promoting it? So anyway, I think that's kind of a cool thing in the right direction, and it would probably be, some pastors and stuff and big names, like, I'm not even gonna get into that, but like bigger name guys. But man, I feel like the Bible reviewers on YouTube could actually have a lot to say and have a lot of input. And what if you didn't want to make it like this one YouTuber's signature series, but what if it was like a YouTube signature series where it's like, we're gonna grab all these guys, brainstorm like, what's the perfect Bible, something that we can all agree on, and then be like, guys, and I've got a penguin on my bottom, and we've got a penguin on my bottom. That whole Lion King thing where it's like, guys, we finally have the one. Anyway, I think that'd be great. I'm kind of detracting from the review. Cambridge Diadem, it has become a levy, but my only two critiques is like, man, interior gilt line. If you're doing edge line in 2023 without an interior gilt line, why not? And then, why not the rose gold stamping on the brown? And I get that there are different shades of brown, but the rose gold, would have looked so amazing on this. But that's just getting really snobby. So we'll save that for our Dave Brown YouTube Signature Series Bible. That'll be released shortly. Just kidding, I don't want to start any rumors that 19 or 20 of you might actually believe. There's no Signature Series Bible in the works. This is just me dreaming. All right, so the question I know everyone's wondering, and maybe I was wondering, is this a wide margin without the margins, or is this kind of a blown up pit minion? Which is it? We're going to talk about that. As far as the size goes, one of the things that made me really kind of start accepting the size is I realized, hey, it's an A5, and I use an A5. as my notebook. I have 3 A5s that I use constantly as traveler's notebooks, and maybe I'll do a video on all of those at some point. But I have something from For the King journals that I use for weddings and stuff like that, because it's just easier to have the wedding liturgy within a ring binder than it is a traveler's notebook. And then this one is just like my actual practical calendar. I also have kind of a scratch notebook in the back where it's just one of those, I need to take a note right now, and so I write it down. And then the 2 middle inserts are my preaching inserts, so all my sermons. And I chose an A5 because I prefer preparing to preach and preaching out of an A5 size. I do like the wider notebook presentation. And so when I realized, like, hey, this is an A5. I mean, look at that. It goes perfect with the A5. So I think when I began to wrap my mind around, this is actually a size that I use, just in a different way, is when I really began to warm up to this and just take it everywhere. Began to use it for the sake of using it to actually have feedback. I did not expect to actually like it as much as I like it now. So I love it. Again, it comes with me everywhere. But wanted to show you, like, hey, it's just an A5. So if A5 is your size, this is an A5 Bible. Now, as far as being like a wide margin without margins, or is it a giant pit minion, we'll get into that now. Now, this is 8.1 font size, which the Cambridge font size is a little bit smaller than, say, like Schuyler and Steadfast and Thomas Nelson with the comfort print. It's a little bit smaller than what's been popular, but they're kind of sticking with what's been working over time. So this is a 8.1 font size, but I get it. It's like you want to cram everything into a smaller typeface, have room for that center column with actually a good footnote package. And so when you look at that Legacy Standard Bible, yeah, it has big font size, but then it's like, no notes. And the only footnotes in there are minimal, so they're like weights and measures, or like the amounts of what money would be today. So, I mean, maybe those are helpful. I don't look at those kinds of notes. I look at the translator notes. And so the bigger the font, the more you remove the capacity for it to hold other actual useful information. So this has the actual useful information. A good cross-reference system, good translator notes. But to get that, you're going to get a smaller font size, which is an 8.1. But here's what's crazy. Cambridge wide margin. Big Bible, right? That is 8-point font. Pit Minion is a 6.75. Now, when you're talking like 8.1, 6.75, and then the 8, it's like, man, these guys are really considering detail and fine-tuning things. Like, I remember doing the typeface for my book, Hearing Love, and every single, like, point this or dot that, or, like, moving a margin this way, font size, like, everything for titles, headings, body, table of contents, front matter, back matter, like how things are formatted. Like, that became a fun process for me because I saw the art in it. The initial, how does it look when it's open? Does it look like art? Does it look like someone actually cared? But then when you read it, is it practical and is it functional? And I feel like Cambridge does such a good job at their typeface at looking at both those, where it's like when you open it up, man, it looks good. But then when you read it, it's very practical and functional and works very, very well. And so I'll show you the size difference between the Diadem, the Pit Minion, and the wide margin. Page numbers line up, everything is the exact same typeface. It's a little bit more towards the wide margin size than it is the Pit Minion size, but it's still just a good in-between Bible. And here it is with the Pit Minion opened up. Which the Pit Minions for me, several years ago, before I started YouTube, these were my take them to work and sit it on my desk. So during breaks or lunch or something, I would have something quick that I'd be able to turn to right in that was just easily portable. So that's what I use the Pit Minions for. Since I'm more in full-time ministry, I've found myself using the bigger Bible. So the Pit Minions have a history for me that I love, and I'm not going to get rid of these, but I don't really use these so much anymore. They're just really good if you're like constantly going back and forth. If you want something to put on your desk at work, like these worked great for me, but that was a past season in my life. Because of the size and then because of the font, I feel like this is closer to a wide margin that doesn't have margins. Now, there's still enough room to like really, if you're using a Pigma Micron 005 and you can write real small, you can write in the margins of these things. But to me, this looks more like a wide margin that has had the margins cut out, which honestly, I remember going through the wide margin and wishing that I had something that exact font size with that exact typeface without the wide margin. So like, this is perfect actually for that. So I feel like it's closer to that. The other reason I say that is because the Pit Minions, you're not going to find an edge-line Pit Minion. They're all paste-down liners. So even when they say goatskin, they're going to be a lot stiffer, especially when they come in. Now this one, I mean, I've used these Pit Minions so much and I've taken them to work. I've made them be able to do that, but they don't do that out of the box. They do that after use, and the goatskin will soften up. But they do come in stiffer because they're paste down. The wide margin is edge line, so the binding style's the same. The font size of the diadem is actually 0.1 size bigger than the wide margin. So I feel like you're getting closer to a wide margin as far as reading, practically going through it. And then also because of the binding style, they're both edge line. Like the diadem's edge line, like the wide margin's edge line. And so it's just a great fit. Like you have the wide margin and the Pit Minion, and I've had these two sizes together, and it's like, man, we're missing something. For all these years, we've been missing the diadem. Now the King James has had options out the wazoo, but when you're talking about New American Standard and English Standard, New King James, they have not had options out the wazoo. But now they're starting to get that. I know we have the Clarion, but I've never gotten into the Clarion, and I've never been into like small chunky Bibles. That's just not my thing. But this like just fits right in there with the size that we've been missing to go in between. And I've had a history with this, and these were useful at some time. I've had a history with this, and this was useful at some time. But right now in my life, like this is the most useful. I take it with me every day. It comes to the prayer room with me every day, and I have a Legacy Standard Bible. I have this one. It gives me the footnotes I need, but then in a good New American Standard presentation, so I can go like back and forth between the two. So I love it. This is probably the one Bible that I've been on both spectrums. When it first came in, completely disappointed with it. It was like, I'll never use this. And now, after having it for over a couple months, actually finding myself using it because I like it, not using it because I have to do a YouTube video about it, but using it because I like it. So the calfskin will soften up over time. I know I've seen other Bible reviewers where they did unboxing of this because I was trying to decide if I wanted this for myself or not, and I'm like, man, it looks stiff. I don't know if I'm gonna like it that much, but it is edge line, so maybe it'll be okay. So I wrestled with this purchase, especially since Bibles are approaching like the almost $300 mark for something edge lined in goatskin, which is just, it's crazy how expensive things are getting. It's just stupid. And then still supply chain issues, and the world is a funny place right now, but it's just insane to see the price jump on these. So when I saw the price, because I was thinking like, yeah, I'd pay $160 for this, but when I saw it was like $100 over that, I'm like, what the heck? It just put me through this tailspin of like, I hadn't purchased a Bible in so long, and they're getting so stupid expensive. And so I watched reviews on this, and I'm like, I really don't know if I want to pull the trigger, but I know I do want to see it, and I'll do a YouTube video about it or something. And purchased it with that mindset, was disappointed when it came in, and all my suspicions were kind of confirmed when it came in. I'm like, yeah, I really don't like it that much. but then actually falling in love with it and it becoming one of my lovies. And now this with the double column Legacy Standard Bible goes with me everywhere. So it's been on both spectrums. This Bible has been on a journey with me, an emotional journey. But that is all. Thanks for watching the longer review with me. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.